Hey everyone, my name is Carter Walsworth, and I chose to do my project on the Mendelian genetics. So we're going to talk about Punnett squares and the alleles and genotype, phenotype, all that kind of stuff. So we'll start with alleles. Alleles are different versions of the same gene. In Mendelian genetics, we often have one dominant allele and one recessive allele. So the dominant one is like big A or little a. I mean, big A is the dominant one. It's represented with a capital letter like big A. And then recessive is written with a lowercase letter like little a in the Punnett square. So in that, when it's written out like that, big A, remember big A is dominant, little a is recessive. That's how they're written in the Punnett square. And so the genotype is the actual allele combination, like big A, big A, big A, or little a, little a. And so, like the big A is a homozygous dominant. Homozygous means it's two of the same alleles, same type of allele, like two dominant or two recessive. And the heterozygous would be like big A, little a, and which in that the big A takes over because it's dominant. So all it needs when it's a dominant allele, all it needs is one. All it needs is one allele to be dominant, and the dominant shows. So now we'll look at the Punnett square that I have drawn out. And so as you can see right there, I have big T. Big T is tall. We're talking about like pea plant height. So we have tall is the dominant allele, which is big T, and then short is the recessive allele, which is little t. And I crossed two heterozygous parents, big T, little t, big T, little t. And so I got big T, big T, big T, little t, big T, little t, and then little t, little t. So now we'll talk about the genotype percentages and the different types of genotypes. So I got one that is homozygous dominant, and one that's homozygous recessive, and two that are heterozygous. So we have 25% are homozygous dominant, 50% are heterozygous, and then 25% are homozygous recessive. And so that in that the 25%, the two big T is tall, big T little t is tall, and then little t is short. So now we'll talk about the phenotype percentages. So 75% is actually tall, because the phenotype is the actual like physical. So like pH phenotype, pH physical. It shows the actual physical trait. And so 75% are tall because it doesn't care about the different types of alleles. All it cares about is the tallness. And then 25% is short. So that's the Punnett square. And that's how you use a Punnett square to predict the offspring of Mendelian genetics using the Mendelian genetics. Thank you for watching.